This is a wonderful little chamber piece he wrote honoring the birth of his son, and surprised his wife with it on her birthday, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And just like, here it is, and it's just a wonderful, lush, intimate little piece. And then we're doing an interesting piece by the American composer Charles Ives called The Unanswered Question.
Oh, great.
Which I won't go into further detail, you just have to experience it. He was from that transcendentalist period in American history,
Yes.
But the big centerpiece is the Copland Appalachian Spring Ballet Suite. And
great.
I'm sure most people know at least parts of that.
Right.
That's where the Variations on a Shaker melody comes from. But this is the original version, which was written during the Second World War for only a small chamber orchestra. He subsequently did it for full orchestra, and that's how most people would know it.
This Sunday, folks need to go ahead and pick up the phone or go online, longbaysymphony.com. Tons of tremendous information there, scrolling through the website, but they can pick up the phone 843-448-8379 to go ahead and reserve tickets. And this Sunday, of course, you highlighted First Presbyterian Church's Great Hall on Grissom Parkway,
Right.
between 38th and 48th Avenue. Very easy to find, a beautiful location.
It is.
And you have not yet performed there.
We haven't, but I think this is going to be a wonderful space for something like this. And again, the whole idea is a smaller group, but a more intimate setting, so you're really up close observing this and having a totally different experience from a full orchestra.
And there are still at least a few tickets available. Viewers
sure.
need to pick up the phone now here on Monday and go ahead and call 843-448-8379. And tickets throughout, folks can block and buy season tickets for your upcoming Symphony Series season. They'll be able to buy those. That'll kick off in August, September.
Oh, no, I think we'll probably kick that off before Memorial Day. I mean, we've announced it. We put a flyer in the March concert brochure or playbill.
Right.
And announced the season, and we've got a lot of wonderful things coming up. We're doing Mahler First Symphony, Bartok Concerto for Orchestra, and these are all the pieces. If you go on websites of orchestras in the region, it's the same great repertoire. And I'm very pleased that we're embarking on this kind of thing. It's been a building process for me and the orchestra, but we're playing a lot more of that major repertoire stuff.
Tremendous. As we get close to celebrating the 25th, the silver anniversary in 2012, a lot of folks want to make sure not only you're celebrating the silver, but the gold and platinum, many other
it will be here.
anniversaries.
It's just one of those long builds as the community grows. I'm convinced it will be here.
How can viewers get involved, whether it's buying tickets on a seasonal basis, whether it's potentially making donations? What are some ways that a viewer could get involved to support the Long Bay Symphony, Charles?
Well, of course, first and foremost is just attending, and I think if people have a natural love for it, if they haven't come, by all means, they should really come see it, because I think they need to be convinced that it's not just a community orchestra. This is a professional undertaking, and the budget, is signifies that. It does take money to do this kind of thing. So the next tier would be, of course, if they feel that they can give something toward that cause. And then, of course, there's board participation. I think, again, the wonderful thing about this area is that there are people moving here who've had this experience. And we have a number of board members who are relatively new to the area, but they've been in different cities and like, I'd love to be a part of this. We need that expertise. We need that. We need to guide this into the future and have good, reasonable agendas going so that we set something up for future generations, that we have a quality program here.
Well, you do have some very dedicated. We had Joanne Milner with us recently, who aired this past, or a couple of Fridays back, promoting an event that was held this past Saturday, the tabletop, over-the-top tablescapes, which a great idea. I think she picked up from one of the managers at Bell.
Well, yeah, and she's got her eye on what a lot of orchestras do throughout the country, and this is the kind of thing we need. We need that kind of dedication and insight, and have somebody like Joanne coming up and saying, look, I just read about this, I just saw this in some other orchestra in a bigger town. We need to be trying this. And that was the next level I was going to go to, is that the guild or the volunteer associations are the backbone of the orchestra. I mean,
Right.
it just doesn't exist without those caring people who
Yes.
really want to create fundraisers or anything else in order for us to have the funding to do this.
Yes.
And in this area, the majority of our funding actually comes, like out in the general public, from individuals.
Okay, great.
My hope is that as the area grows, we'll get more and more. It's not that we don't have business interests, but it's not the same as, say, Greenville, you know, an area that's got
Right.
set
Big industry, big interstates,
and that,
sure.
but that will come, I think. And when we get an interstate in here
Yes.
and various things, those things will grow. But we're very fortunate to have the individuals' support, and it's those folks, by giving of their time and money, that make this happen.
What would be some volunteer opportunities if a viewer has, obviously that you wanted to get them to attend a performance and know what all you're about, but are there some opportunities that they could step into? Clearly the Guild is a great way
That
to
is the
get
primary
involved.
way to
Okay,
step into it.
sure.
And I would want to mention to folks, I'm sure it's been mentioned before, but
Right.
this is not a women's guild.
Right,
This is a
right.
guild. There's several men in it,
Yeah.
and it's just a guild to serve the orchestra's mission.
Tremendous. I mean,
And so there's all sorts of things, but I would say primarily it's done through the Guild.
Good.
But ushering at concerts,
Yes.
serving lunches to the musicians on rehearsal days,
Great.
fundraisers galore, and all
Yes.
sorts of things. And I like to think, as we lose a sense of social these days with more and more internet stuff, that the reward also comes in working on a common mission with people you enjoy spending time with.
right, right.
I think that I've heard so much from Guild members, is that not only do they enjoy making this happen, but it's a project that they can do with these people who are otherwise not part of their world. You know,
Right.
they've come and they've acquired a new set of friends, and as I've referred to so many times, there are people from all over the place, and you learn so much from these people.
Absolutely. Not only on the volunteer side, but your entire musical group. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
folks are traveling in from all over.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
The professionals that make up your orchestra are traveling in from as far south and as far north. I mean, they're traveling long distances to be with us.
right. I mean, it's various levels. We have a number of people just from southern North Carolina,
Okay.
Brunswick County area up into
Right.
Wilmington,
Right.
but also out to Columbia and down
Down
south,
to Charleston, sure.
and a lot of folks who work in this area too. So yeah, it's a wonderful mix of folks.
That is wonderful, Charles. Well, you know, as you think, and of course for yourself, you still maintain the presence as a music director, I believe, in Arkansas.
Right, with the Pine Bluff Symphony, which is just south of Little Rock.
Okay.
And they've maintained a fine orchestral situation there. They
Right.
just decided they wanted their own orchestra, and it's branched out wonderfully into pretty much like what we're trying to do here, into serving Southeast Arkansas. So I think that's another key element with orchestras now, is you really have to find, you know, your service area and your constituency and work to serve them. So part of what we're trying to do here is a lot more focus on potentially doing outdoor concerts.
Great.
Because
Good.
the audiences who already love this idiom are there,
Right.
and they're telling their friends, and all that's working. But we need to make sure all the people know the value of having a professional orchestra in the community.
Yes.
So we have a youth orchestra for their kids. And you know, businesses, when they look to relocate, they ask all these questions. Do you have a youth orchestra program, and do you have this and that? And we can happily say that we have a fine program, and we've graduated students, and they've gone off to conservatories, and they've gotten great exposure to the repertoire from us. So you know, there are all of those elements that come together with what a professional orchestra provides for a community.
Those are great words. Charles, I'm sorry we've run out of time.
Oh.
Thanks so much for being with us this
Thank
morning.
you.
Very special. Stay tuned to a little more with Dr. Charles Jones Evans, Long Bay Symphony, coming up next. You know, you'd think he'd get a big head. You'd think he'd get a big head having the orchestra in front of him, 80 plus musicians on a regular basis, having more than 1,000 folks behind him. You heard me even ask him that question about his willingness to be here in the area when assumably a lot of folks are going after him. Instead, you heard his response. It's his eagerness, the thrill of being here and serving the community in this way, and the excitement for him on a regular basis, once a month throughout the year, and much more than that, the activities going on, the real excitement's for him. It's like a kid in a candy shop. It was exciting to hear him talk. 843-448-8379. 843-448-8379. Whether you can attend this Sunday's event, Smaller Treasures Through the Ages at First Presbyterian Church on their Grissom Parkway location at 4 p.m., or can actually just get out for one of the other performances through the year. There's also great volunteer activities, many of which you can learn about at longbaysymphony.com. Get involved. You may have that same feeling like Charles has, the eagerness to be involved. Charles, thanks again for being